Welcome to another episode of Reed All About It. I'm your host, Reed. Today I've got a fun video for you guys. It's a video from my daughter's very first bow harvest. Last year she was lucky enough to take a white-tailed doe with her bow at the age of 13. So today we're going to bring you that hunt film, and then in a subsequent episode here we're going to break down what her actual bow setup was, so that anybody else who potentially is taking youth out might get some good intel as to kind of how to set their son or daughter up for efficient kills, because you'll see on the video that Annika made an excellent shot. She got a full pass through on the doe. It was a mature doe, and doe ran about 35-40 yards and expired. It was a ton of fun. We've got some other footage from some of our other hunts as well. She had a doe tag and a buck tag. We were only able to fill the doe tag with the bow. She subsequently shot a buck during gun season and filled her bow or her buck tag with that. In Iowa, you're lucky enough to buy a youth tag, and that's good for any season, so long as you use the legal method of take required for that season. So she hunted throughout the bow season. We had some very, very close encounters with our target buck, a nice about upper 140s, maybe low 150s 10-pointer. She had him once at about 17 yards. She had a limb right in her way, so couldn't get a clean shot. And then, as luck would have it, the buck turned 90 degrees and walked absolutely straight away from us back to the timber. Needed about 2 more steps and she would have had an excellent shot at that animal as well. And then the very next day we had him come out again, but the wind swirled on us and he got our wind, so we weren't able to close the deal. But he's back again this year, and we've got trail camera pictures of him, and she'll be hunting him again this year, hopefully trying to catch up to him with her bow as well. So without further ado, we'll get to the hunt portion of the video. I'll kind of narrate it because we didn't do any real in-stand interviews or anything like that, but I'll give you a little narration throughout to kind of set the scene. So without further ado, let's get to that. Got out to the stand and just in the nick of time. It started downpouring right as we walked up to the blind. This is our last weekend to get it done for Annika. So we're sitting over top of a bean food plot in a muddy blind, hoping we can get it done. So after that rainstorm blew through, it didn't take too long, and the deer started moving. This was the first activity of the night. Mama doe and her fawn came out, and like I mentioned in the little in-stand interview there, we were just sitting over some soybeans that I had planted in this food plot, and they were still green, so the deer were enjoying those. And then shortly after, this smaller, younger 8-pointer came out. Was a fun deer to watch. Got us a little excited for what the night might bring. And then that was all we saw that night. This here is the next night. We were on the other side of the timber on another soybean food plot that I had planted. We had originally set up in a ground blind, but early on in the sit, some does came out, and I hadn't put the ground blind out previously, so they weren't used to it, and spooked quickly after entering the food plot. So I opted to fold the ground blind down, and we went, and there's a little island of trees in the center of this food plot, and we sat in the grass and the overhanging branches there, on the ground. And as you'll see shortly, later in the sit, that we did get busted sitting on the ground there by a doe. We did actually see one of the target bucks we were after this night. He was in the shadows back behind that scrape branch and post there, where you see the doe and the fawn off to the right. He came up there, and had we went to the muddy blind again this night, we likely would have gotten a shot at him, because ultimately he came up on that ridge, never came out on our side in the food plot. He stayed in the woods there, but he went down the hill, crossed the river, and then came out to the food plot on the other side. I had a trail camera picture of him that evening on that side, so we would have likely had a shot at him. My cousin ultimately shot that deer and wounded him, never recovered him, and we found him as a deadhead shed hunting this winter. This is the doe that busted us on the ground. To our credit, though, she did have to get quite close to bust us, but and this was the second weekend of youth season, so Annika could use any weapon. On this hunt, we didn't have her bow because we were going to be sitting on the ground in this instance, and I don't think she was very well prepared to do a shot with her bow from the ground. So we just focused on having the gun and covering as much of the food plot as we could. As you saw, that doe spotted us sitting there. This footage here was from November, actually, November the 3rd that year. This was the night that we had the really close encounter with the 10-pointer that you'll see in the next clip. He came out essentially underneath where this buck is going. There's a mowed trail off to the right here, and he came straight down that mowed trail, came out into this little green plot that I put back in the timber. And he stopped at 17 yards. Annika was at full draw, but there was a limb overhanging, and he just needed to take one or two more steps, and she would have had a clear shot to the vitals. But I didn't get any footage of it because it happened pretty quickly, and I was more concerned with trying to coach Annika and get her situated than I was trying to get footage of the encounter. But this nice little 8-pointer was also fun to watch. He came out earlier in the evening, and those were actually the only 2 deer we saw that night, tucked away in this little food plot. That 10-pointer also, he had a really bad cough last year because my neighbors here, his wife actually shot him. I believe it was the first weekend in October. And with a crossbow, she had gotten in a car accident and couldn't draw her regular bow anymore. So she had gotten a crossbow permit while she hit him just in front of the shoulder and had a clean pass through. You'll see in the next clip, you can see the scar where he healed up, and doesn't seem to be affected by it other than he had a persistent cough, I believe, as a result of that. And you could hear him coming. Typically he'd cough a little bit every 3 to 5 minutes or so, which is what allowed us to have enough time. Annika got her bow because I could hear him coughing as he walked down that trail. And I said, knowing that was him, because I had an encounter myself with him and had witnessed him coughing. This buck at this point is almost straight downwind. I'm not sure if he is catching our wind here. Obviously you can hear him, or you can see him scent checking and things, but it is also the rut. So this is the 10-pointer that we were after last year, and we're after him again this year as well. But he's just a nice, clean 10-pointer. You can see there on his shoulder, he has matching scars on each side from where he was hit by my neighbor. So this food plot lengthwise runs north and south. The wind was supposed to be southeasterly, but it ended up being pretty southerly. With the woods to the left, it causes even more swirling down there. So I'm pretty sure it didn't take long for both this doe and this buck to catch our wind. But it was a cool encounter nonetheless, 2 days in a row that we got to look at this buck and get a good look at him. Annika got pretty jacked up. He's at, approximately 110 yards at this point. And he's about 110 yards from where the neighbor had shot him earlier in the season too. Just straight behind him there, they have a tower blind on their property, and that is where she had shot him. All in all, cool to have the encounters and build some history with a deer, hoping to close that chapter here in the next week or two, hopefully, for Annika, so she can get a crack at him. And then this clip here is actually post Annika shooting her doe, about 10 minutes after she shot her doe. This doe and 2 fawns, and then shortly after a small 9-point buck come out. So we got even more action after she got her shot, but I put this clip in front of it so that we could have the actual shot as the last clip. I did just get some trail camera photos of this deer the other day, about 2 or 3 days ago, on the other side of the woods, hitting the scrape post that's over there. He added a decent amount of width and length to his tines, but he is still just a 9-pointer. He didn't add a G4 on his other side. So yeah, we watch these deer until dark, but here is Annika's opportunity. She did such an amazing job.
She's right at 20 yards right there. So. She's kind of covered by the tree right now. Like that. Get it covered by the tree. Yeah, that's fine. Just wait. Would you want me to shoot her? That's a good dose. Yeah, if she comes close enough. Smoked her. That is so